most wanted terror commander of Hizbul Mujahideen, threatens to destroy India. Images taken in Rawalpindi, Pakistan. A designated terrorist protected by armed Pakistan army soldiers.
This is the delay.
Pakistan's claims of acting against terror exposed. Is the Financial Action Task Force watching this? Bankrupt Pakistan bankrolls terror. That's our top focus on India First.
Syed Salahuddin is a designated terrorist. He heads a banned terrorist organization, Hizbul Mujahideen. He lives in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, but here he is not threatening India from Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. He is threatening India from Rawalpindi, the headquarters of Pakistan Army. Watch these images carefully. He is flanked by armed soldiers. This is when Pakistan is bankrupt. This is when Pakistan is begging for money. This is when Pakistan and people in Pakistan, they're crying, unable to get 2 square meals a day. But not the Pakistan army and not terrorists in Pakistan. They continue to flourish. Sadly, that's the truth of Pakistan, a state sponsor of terror. I'm Gaurav Sawant. Is the Financial Action Task Force watching these images? Should Pakistan get an IMF bailout, or will that money only fund terror further? We debate. But first, as always, the headlines. Big setback for Uddhav Thackeray. Supreme Court refuses to put Election Commission order on Sena name and symbol on hold. Eknath Shinde to retain the bow and arrow. Uddhav Thackeray to continue with the torch symbol. Mallikarjun Kharge declares that the Congress-led alliance will come to power in 2024. Rahul Gandhi slams the Trinamool Congress for history of violence and scam. TMC hits back, says the Congress failed to restrain BJP in 40 assembly polls. Day after External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar taunted Rahul Gandhi on China, Congress hits back, calls Dr. Jaishankar India's most failed foreign minister. Aam Aadmi Party wins the dangal for Delhi Mayor. Shelley Oberoi is the new civic body chief. Arvind Kejriwal says goons have lost, the people of Delhi have won. Trouble mounts for Delhi's Deputy Chief Minister. Centre gives a nod to prosecute Manish Sisodia in Delhi's Snoop Gate case. The Aam Aadmi Party calls it a fake case. India and China hold diplomatic talks on the LAC in Beijing. Discuss proposals for disengagement in the remaining areas and to restore peace and tranquility along the line of actual control. Hizbul Mujahideen is perhaps the oldest terrorist organization in Jammu and Kashmir. Its commander, Syed Salahuddin, was caught on camera threatening India in Rawalpindi, the headquarters of Pakistan Army. The terrorist commander was flanked by armed Pakistan soldiers protecting him. Was he being protected because another Hizbul Mujahideen terrorist, Bashir Ahmed Peer, the launch commander of Hizbul Mujahideen, was killed at point-blank range in Rawalpindi? The killing of the terror commander is being seen as a major blow to not just the terrorist organization, but also to terror state Pakistan. But the threat exposes Pakistan's doublespeak on action against terrorists.
वतन अजीज की आजादी तक और भारत की तक हमारा जहाद फी सबीलिल्लाह हर क़वत पर जारी रहेगा।
Sayyid Salahuddin was at the funeral of Bashir Ahmed Peer, another designated Hizbul Mujahideen terrorist. These images are not from some far-flung area in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. These images, now viral in Pakistan and across the region, are from Rawalpindi, the headquarters of Pakistan Army, barely 20 kilometers from the capital, Islamabad. Here the terrorist once again as he threatens India.
कश्मीर की कुर्बानियों को सबताज होने की साजिशें हो रही। हमें आज अहद करना है, खून के आखिरी कतरे तक इंशाअल्लाह वतन अजीज की आजादी तक और भारत की हमारा जहाद फी सबीलिल्लाह हर क़वत पर जारी रहेगा। दो हाथ उठाकर अल्लाह से वादा करना।
And a large crowd assembled there to cheer Sayyid Salahuddin at the funeral of Peer, a terror handler from Kupwara. Peer, who hailed from Jammu and Kashmir's Kupwara district, had been living in Pakistan for more than 15 years. He was killed by an unidentified miscreant in Pakistan's Rawalpindi a few days ago. Bashir Ahmed Peer was designated a terrorist by India on October 4th, 2022, under the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act for his role in terror activities in the country. Bashir Ahmed was reportedly involved in uniting terrorists and the expansion of Hizbul Mujahideen, Lashkar-e-Taiba and other Pakistan-based terrorist organizations. According to a notification issued by the Union Home Ministry, Bashir was responsible for providing logistics to Hizbul Mujahideen terrorists, especially for infiltration into Kupwara, Jammu and Kashmir. He also coordinated with other terrorist groups for terror activities in Jammu and Kashmir. This comes 2 days after famous Indian lyricist Javed Akhtar showed Mirror to Pakistan.
हम तो बंबई के लोग हैं, हमने देखा हमारे शहर पे कैसे हमला हुआ था। तो वो लोग नॉर्वे से तो नहीं आए थे, ना इजिप्ट से आए थे, वो लोग अभी भी आपके मुल्क में घूम रहे हैं। तो ये शिकायत अगर हिंदुस्तानी के दिल में हो तो आपको बुरा नहीं मानना चाहिए।
To openly attend the funeral of such designated terrorists, to call for jihad in Kashmir, and to give calls for India's destruction validates Javed Akhtar's point. Pakistan continues to be a safe haven for the global terrorists. Dear FATF, are you watching? Bureau Report, India Today.
We'll show you this video once again. The video exposes Pakistan's doublespeak on action against terror. But it raises another point. Should the International Monetary Fund give aid to Pakistan, give a loan to Pakistan, when the terror state takes no action against terrorists who openly threaten India? And from Rawalpindi, barely 20 kilometers from Islamabad. Joining me on India First is Dr. Tara Kartha, former director at the National Security Council Secretariat. Also with me is Ambassador Prabhu Dayal, former Consul General. He was in Pakistan and in the United States. And joining us from Pakistan is journalist Omar Altaf. Omar Altaf, I want to begin by asking you, sir, how can a designated terrorist roam freely in Rawalpindi and threaten a neighboring country? Sir, does this not completely expose Pakistan's actions on terror?
Gaurav, I'm not sure whether Sayyid Salahuddin was roaming around in Rawalpindi or not, but obviously this could be some part of Pakistan. I cannot deny that. But you also need to be clear, there are people in your country country.
Sir, we are
who
not talking about
threaten
our country, we are talking about Pakistan. Sir, my request to you at the beginning of this bulletin is kindly do not talk about India. I have two guests who will do that. My request to you is, and because we are inviting you from Pakistan, give us Pakistan's perspective on what's happening in Pakistan. You know, on India first, we do not take a false comparison with India. There is no comparison, sir. You're a failed state. We are the 5th largest economy. Tell me about Pakistan.
No, Gaurav, you should allow me to complete.
Only about Pakistan, sir. I do not want Pakistanis talking about my country, sir. Tell me about Pakistan.
Listen to your harangues. Just let me complete. This is very rude of you to interrupt
sir,
me.
I'm rude because I want facts. I want facts on Pakistan. I don't want false equivalence with India. There is no equivalence between a terror state Pakistan and a democracy India. Sir, you are here to talk about Pakistan.
Stop with these labeling and accusations. Let's have a decent debate. Okay?
Sir, there is a terrorist roaming around in your country, threatening my country, and you want a decent debate? Sure. Tell me, why are these terrorists roaming around openly in your country when your country doesn't have enough money to feed your people?
Represent Pakistan. Am I defending Sayyid Salahuddin? Why are you getting so agitated?
I'm agitated because there's a terrorist roaming around freely in your country. I'm agitated because this terrorist has been killing people in my country.
And he is from your country. He is from your part of Kashmir.
I am glad you realize you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. He is from my country, which is India, but getting and sheltered in Pakistan. But let me take this to Ambassador. Let me take this to Ambassador Prabhu Dayal. You're absolutely right. He is from my country. He is from Jammu and Kashmir, which is my country. I completely take your point there. Ambassador Prabhu Dayal, this is not in the jungles of Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, Ambassador. This is not in the lawless Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province. This is Rawalpindi, barely 20 kilometers from the seat of power in Pakistan. Sir, is this not alarming?
Indian passport?
Ambassador?
Have you revoked Sayyid Salahuddin?
Ambassador Prabhu Dayal.
Well, I believe, as most of us here in India who follow Pakistan do, that Pakistan's policies are run by the deep state, which comprises the top generals of the army and the ISI. And this deep state has an avowed policy of wanting to bleed India by 1,000 cuts, for which they have this nefarious nexus with the mullahs. And they encourage terrorism because they want to pursue a policy of state-sponsored terrorism vis-a-vis India. Now, in this entire scenario, what we find is that they are able to hoodwink organizations like the FATF.
Yes.
Pakistan has an umbilical relationship now with terrorists, and it has funded terrorists, it has nurtured terrorism in all parts of its country, where organizations like the Hizbul Mujahideen and Jaish-e-Mohammed and Lashkar-e-Taiba nurture terrorists, which are used by the Pakistan army to carry out terrorist acts in India. Now, how did Pakistan hoodwink the FATF? I think this was a mistake on the part of the FATF.
Oh, absolutely.
Because the reality is that all these terrorists are roaming freely. There is no check on them. And Pakistan is spending a lot of money on financing terrorism. And this aspect
very important point you raised, Ambassador. Pakistan, and I want to bring in Omar Altaf on that in just a moment. Pakistan doesn't have money to feed its people, and yet terrorists are flourishing. Dr. Tara Kartha, the terrorist is protected by 2 armed soldiers. Look at those pictures, soldiers in uniform. Does this not, madam, make a complete mockery of Pakistan's claims and even the Financial Action Task Force?
I think it's absolutely, I mean, it's so evident. What is it? Do we actually need to point this out? I mean, the image itself is self-evident that here is this man who's been identified as a terrorist, self-confessed also. I mean, look at what he's talking, right? And he's there on the streets of Rawalpindi. At least we know that terrorist Imtiaz Alam was killed in Rawalpindi, roaming freely. I mean, what on earth is going on? I mean, surely it doesn't need us to even, say the words. It's obvious from the picture. But the second thing I'd like to point out is the report was that Imtiaz Alam had been killed because of infighting between terrorist groups, lack of money, and all the so on and so forth. I wouldn't be so confident because, you know, the latest reports, what we are seeing is of, in fact, a US Congress. There is a raising of a injunction against the USAID, which has been giving money to an organization in the US which is linked to Jamaat-e-Islami.
Yes.
And that in turn is linked to the
Hizbul
disaster
Mujahideen.
relief.
Absolutely. You've hit the nail on its head, ma'am. Absolutely. Funding of these terrorist organizations and how that money is being spent. And Omar Altaf, Pakistan, according to your defense minister Khwaja Asif, is bankrupt or at least on the verge of bankruptcy. People in Pakistan, we are told, and we are watching this on Pakistani media, are on the verge of starvation. Many cannot afford even 1 square meal a day, let alone 2 square meals a day. And yet no action against terrorists like Syed Salahuddin. Explain this, sir.
I think Pakistan has taken enormous action against terrorism. And the proof of that is that Pakistan was successfully taken out of the FATF grey list. So Pakistan doesn't control FATF. And the world community has acknowledged India's efforts. You can keep on portraying these things as if some very serious stuff is happening in Pakistan.
You don't think
but
this is serious stuff?
The way.
You don't think this is serious stuff?
Threatening India is wrong. Threatening any country using Pakistani soil, I condemn it. But saying that he is in Rawalpindi, sheltered by the Pakistan army, that is, I think you're stretching. It's absolutely false.
You're watching those
Pakistan
images,
army
right?
has shown
Two chaps in
those
camouflage
aren't
fatigues
Pakistani
with
army
assault
soldiers.
rifles.
Those aren't Pakistani army soldiers. Anyone in camouflage is not a soldier. Gaurav, for God's sake, you can do better than
there
this.
is no difference between a Pakistan army soldier. There's no difference between a Pakistan army soldier and a terrorist. They dress up the same way as what you're saying.
You should be able to identify this. This is not the uniform of the Pakistan army, for God's sake.
Okay, this is the soldier of terrorists in Pakistan. Okay, no, for us it's new, sir. You would know better, sir.
These camouflage
You would know better, sir.
Everyone, even Mayos in India wear camouflage. They aren't soldiers of the Indian army. For God's sake,
you are saying that these are terrorists who are flanking him? Fair enough. Should Pakistan army not be taking action against Syed Salahuddin in case he's roaming around in any part of Pakistan?
No, the courts of Pakistan are independent and they have taken action against a lot of these terror groups. The Pakistani government is also not oblivious to these terror organizations. Hizbul Mujahideen is banned in Pakistan. So is Lashkar-e-Taiba.
Sir, if it's banned, how is this happening? Sir, do you see a disconnect in what you're saying and what these images are saying? Or are you people completely oblivious? You just need to speak something irrespective of what the ground reality is.
I condemn the hate speech. I condemn the hate speech of Syed Salahuddin against India. He shouldn't be making any threatening...
Sir, is he not bringing a bad name to that religion you follow? What is he saying? खून के आखिरी कतरे तक जिहाद, अल्लाह से मेरा वादा है जिहाद, भारत की बर्बादी तक जिहाद. Sir, is he not bringing a bad name to that religion that you follow?
No, absolutely. He is bringing a bad name, and so there are extremists from...
Again, you'll come to India. I don't want to talk about India with you. I'll talk to India internally with my people. You are here to talk about Pakistan. But I want to talk about Omar. The killing of Bashir Ahmed Pir. Omar, I have a lot of... Omar, time, brevity has to be your forte. Okay, take Omar off air. Ambassador Dayal, how should one view the killing of this Hizbul Mujahideen terrorist at point blank range in Rawalpindi?
I can't hear. I couldn't hear you. Your voice is not coming.
Okay, Ambassador, if you can hear me, how do you view the killing of Bashir Ahmed Pir, this Hizbul Mujahideen recruiter and launch commander in Rawalpindi? Internal fighting or are there bigger games at play?
Well, I can't say. There could be bigger games at play. But the fact of the matter is that there is a fundamental relationship between the Pakistani establishment and the terror outfits. The terror outfits work for the ISI and the Pakistan army. And I find it difficult to believe that regardless of how the FATF viewed the situation in Pakistan, there has been any meaningful change in the thinking of the deep state of Pakistan. We in India are prepared to handle terrorism from Pakistan. We will take it headlong and we will give it right back to them in the sense that we will handle the issue of terrorism in the best possible manner. But the people of Pakistan are suffering. They are facing abject poverty. There is great shortage of petrol, of food, of all essential items. So I think that the people of Pakistan have to realize how much harm is coming to them, and they have to find the means to.
I don't think Omar Altaf or people in Pakistan realize what harm is coming to them. Maybe no harm coming to them yet, but financially. But Dr. Tara Kartha, before I bring in Omar, would the killing of this peer, would this be making terrorists like Syed Salahuddin nervous, or terrorists like Hafiz Saeed or Masood Azhar? Even terrorists are now not safe in Pakistan.
I think you'll probably get to see a lot more of this, Gaurav. I mean, there's going to be a lot more of infighting. See, I would really like to put this question across to your Pakistani journalists. Either Pakistan is in control of these guys, in which case they have no business in Rawalpindi, or they're out of control and they're in Rawalpindi. It's one of the two. Either of them is bad for Pakistan. I mean, to be very honest, they are the ones who are suffering due to the policies of an establishment that has used the taxpayers' money to get this kind of policies and ruined the whole country. I think Pakistanis deserve much better than this.
Ma'am, you think so? Ambassador Prabhu Dayal thinks so? Omar Altaf, do you think so?
No, I think Pakistan government is very clear that we won't let our soil to be used against any country, be it India or any regional country as well. So, and Pakistan government has over the last few years shown great commitment to that. And world community has also testified the fact that Pakistan is following on its commitments. And Gaurav,
sir, sweet words,
India used to blame.
Not true, sir. Your defense minister was in Afghanistan. Taliban was scolding your defense minister. Taliban was scolding your DG ISI. They've been killing your soldiers at the Chaman border. Sir, kabhi to sach bolo. Apne aap se to sach bolo. मतलब कोई तो सच बोलेगा पाकिस्तान में, for heaven's sake.
Chinese also kill your soldiers.
No, and they get killed. If they killed 20 of us, more than 40 of theirs were killed.
Border clashes with China.
Sir, again, how do you compare yourself with us? I fail to understand. We've killed more than 40 of theirs according to that Russian agency TASS. And their soldiers just got beaten up in Tawang. But that's not the story today. Omar Altaf, an ambassador, I want to bring in Dr. Tara Kartha once again. That's my point with Pakistan. You say Pakistan is suffering. Ambassador Dayal says Pakistan is suffering. Are people like Omar Altaf suffering? They are typically मेरी एक आंख फूट जाए अगर पड़ोसी की दूसरी आंख फूट जाए. That is their mentality. Seriously, are you able to eat 2 square meals a day? Are you able to eat 2 square meals a day in your country? इस तरह की बातें करते हैं. Seriously, I mean, bizarre, absolutely bizarre. I just want Dr. Tara Kartha on the air, please. Dr. Tara Kartha, this is the truth about Pakistan. We feel sorry for them that they are unable to eat 2 square meals a day. But वो तो like Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, वो तो घास खाने को तैयार है just to have an atom bomb. That's their mindset, madam, it seems.
No, one would wish that there could be more change, but unfortunately, you just saw recently that about, I think, 50,000 crowd of Pakistanis came out on the streets for what? To protest against the Quran which was being burnt in Sweden.
Yes.
I mean, if this brings you out, but the economic crisis doesn't bring you out on the streets. I haven't seen any protest against what the army has done to it, what the governments have done to Pakistan. Where is the protest from within Pakistan against the terrible policies which have been followed? You can come out on the streets for this, for Imran Khan, for politicians. What about yourselves? That's my problem. That is what worries me.
That is how indoctrinated this country has become. And perhaps we should just, keep it at arm's length. But just one more question, we are running out of time. Does Pakistan deserve an IMF bailout, or will those funds actually, provide another lease of life to terrorists like Syed Salahuddin, Hafiz Saeed and General Asim Munir? Terrorists in uniform are out of it, madam.
I would wish that they would get, because we don't want the ordinary people to suffer. I mean, these are people who are at the lowest levels who are really suffering. And one would wish them some relief, but not if this kind of government continues. I mean, they cannot hoodwink the international community and get money from it at the same time. That you can't do.
Okay, I hope these images are an eye-opener, clearly not for Omar Altaf, but I hope they're an eye-opener for the world community that Pakistan remains a state sponsor of terror, with terrorists like Syed Salahuddin openly spewing venom against India in Rawalpindi. Ambassador Dayal, Omar Altaf and Tara Kartha for joining me. Dr. Tara Kartha, many thanks for joining me here on this India First special. I've run out of time on this part of the show. Abha Bakaya comes up next with Business Today. Stay with us.
All successful people worked hard, nothing comes easily.
Sometimes you need to just cross that mental barrier.
Once I come in,
काफी प्रोसेस ओरिएंटेड
stark difference.
मैं जब दोनों मेडल को ले रहा था और मैं बोल रहा था कि दो ही हमारे पास मेडल है इंडिया में और दोनों आज मेरे हाथ में हैं.
The very fact that you're opening the India Today conclave with a session on Olympic sport tells me that we've made progress.
Bellwether Wipro has slashed previously offered pay packages by half, urging freshers to join at 3.5 lakh rupees per annum versus an earlier 6.5 lakh rupees per annum. The move comes amidst mounting recessionary concerns, margin pressures and rising macro uncertainty. My colleague Akanksha Chaturvedi now joins us with more on this. Akanksha, what are the terms of this new revised agreement and what do stakeholders think about this?
Like we've been reporting for months now, thousands of freshers have been waiting to get a joining date at some of India's leading IT and tech companies, and Wipro is one of them. What Wipro has done now is that it had previously, last year, in the beginning of last year, offered jobs to many people, and their CTC, cost to company, was around 3.5 lakh rupees. What Wipro did was it gave them the option to go through a training called Velocity, after which their salary would be bumped to 6.5 lakh rupees per year. And this is what thousands of these freshers did, of course, because they wanted a better pay. Now, what Wipro did is that they made all these freshers wait for over 12 months now. Wipro did not give them a joining date. And as Business Today has just learned, is the fact that Wipro is now giving these people a new option that they could join the company but at a lower pay. That is, people who were first promised a pay of 6.5 lakh rupees will now have the option to join the company at 3.5 lakh rupees. Employee unions as well as students and freshers who were given these job offers are infuriated by this and are calling this move unethical.
All right.
Employee unions are also mulling to go to the ministry, to the Labour Ministry, and talk this through.
The award season is in full swing, and the Bafta award ceremony took place at the London Royal Festival Hall to honour the best British and foreign films of 2022. The ceremony was hosted by Richard E. Grant. A German remake of anti-war classic All Quiet on the Western Front was the big winner at the British Academy Film Awards in the key categories at the ceremony, which is an indicator for next month's Oscars.
All Quiet on the Western Front.
The Netflix drama had 14 nominations, making it one of the most recognized films not in the English language in Bafta's history. It won 7 awards overall, including Best Film, Adapted Screenplay, Film Not in the English Language, Best Director for Edward Berger, Cinematography, Sound and Original Score.
And the BAFTA goes to Edward Berger, All Quiet on the Western Front.
Austin Butler bagged the award of leading actor for his portrayal of Elvis Presley in Elvis.
The BAFTA goes to Austin Butler.
While Kate Blanchett won the leading actress prize for her portrayal of a gay conductor of a Berlin orchestra whose career came tumbling down due to an abuse scandal in Tar.
And the BAFTA goes to Kate Blanchett.
Banshees, about two feuding friends on an island off the coast of Ireland, won Outstanding British Film, both supporting acting categories for Kerry Condon and Barry Keoghan as well as Original Screenplay.
Why aren't you talking to Porritt no more?
That wouldn't be a sin now, would it, Father?
No, but it's not very nice either, is it?
Hello and welcome. You're with us here on Business Today. I'm Abha Bakaya. Here are the headlines tonight. Big threat to food grain production from the spike in temperature. Wheat crops set for harvest next month likely to be hit hard. Output could go down as much as 15% in some areas. No respite for the Lal Street as indices mirror global weakness. Both Nifty and Sensex closing the session at the day's low. The Nifty closing with cuts of over 1.5%. Sensex 2 plummeting 800 points to settle below 60,000. As the crashing for the Adani Group stocks continue, reports suggest that market regulator SEBI has sought details on the firm's loans and securities from rating agencies. Meanwhile, Adani Enterprises tanks over 12% amid lingering concerns. Mukesh Ambani lines up a massive treat for cricket fans. Viacom 18 to stream 8 weeks of IPL matches free on its OTT platforms. Could start charging from next year. The unexpected spike in temperatures as winter fades away could have some serious implications on grain production this year. While there's some respite for the common man, the farmer could be the one facing problems when the Rabi harvesting season begins in about a month from now.
इस बार जो सीजन है गर्मी का वो सामान्य से ज़्यादा गर्मी देखेगा और जो बारिश और जो प्री मानसून गतिविधियां वो भी थोड़ी सी कम हो सकती हैं और जो टेम्परेचर हैं वो और हीट वेव की जो इंटेंसिटी और फ्रीक्वेंसी है वो ज़्यादा हो सकती है.
A weather expert confirming what the Aam Aadmi has known for the past week. The summers are here, well before time. The maximum temperature in Delhi has crossed 33 degrees, while IMD has warned about a heat wave with temperatures up to 38 degrees in Konkan, Goa and Gujarat. But it's the heat wave hitting Punjab and Haryana which is worrying policymakers the most. Temperatures are touching 30 degrees, nearly 5 notches above the normal. The dry weather conditions and rising temperatures have badly hit the winter crops like leafy vegetables, peas and onions in Punjab. There are apprehensions that the terminal heat this winter season may result in shriveled grains, which means a drop in the yield. A Business Today TV team met farmers in Punjab who feared their wheat output may also be hit. Daljit Singh of Azizpur village increased the sowing area of his wheat crop this year, hoping to recover some of the losses he incurred last year. But the sudden rise in temperatures has left him worried.
गर्मी की वजह से ना छोटा रह सकता है दाना जी. हाँ जी. फिर ठंड पैंती जी तो झाड़ बढ़िया निकल आए.
Another farmer, Gurbachan Singh, who grows other crops like onions, peas, cauliflower and mustard, is also worried.
ज़्यादा सर्दी पैंदी है फिर तो कि कणक में भी झाड़ ज़्यादा होता है ये तेलिया नहीं लगता कि होर बीमारी कई बीमारियां आ जांदियां कीड़ा शुरू हो जाता जिस तरह ये मटर सुकना शुरू हो गया एकदम गर्मी आए जिस ठंड होती तो मटर होर भी लगता ਤੇ ਇਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਕਈ ਇਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੀ ਸਬਜ਼ੀਆਂ ਜੀ ਜਾਂ ਗੋਭੀ ਸਰੋਂ ਆ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਤੇਲੀਆ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਪੈ ਰਿਹਾ ਜੀ ਸਪਰੇਹਾਂ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਆ ਪਰ ਫਰਕ ਨਹੀਂ।
The Agriculture Ministry had forecast a wheat harvest of 112 million tons this year, a rise of 4% over last year. The Met Department has, however, hinted that the rising temperatures can result in a dropped wheat yield. According to reports, the Food Corporation of India may be forced to advance wheat procurement by a week. There are various ways the wheat crop can be hit this year. Not only can the premature rise in temperatures lower the wheat yield, it may also result in early maturity of the crop. Experts say some areas may see wheat production dip by 10 to 15%. The worst hit will be late sown varieties.
5 नवंबर या 7 नवंबर तक जो हमने देखा है, अगर बिजाई कर ली है तो उस पर ज़्यादा इम्पैक्ट नहीं आता है, लेकिन जो हमारे जैसे जैसे लेट सोन की तरफ बढ़ेंगे तो लेट सोन जो वैरायटीज हैं या लेट सोन कंडीशंस में जो बिजाई की है उसमें ड्रास्टिकली यील्ड पे असर पड़ सकता है.
The scientists say if the temperature continues to rise, that can steal the grains, which means a drop in the yield per acre. Last year the farmers faced losses due to a variety of reasons, be it the natural calamities like the unseasonal rain, the windstorms or the hailstorms. But this year, their hope seems to have been dashed by the rising temperatures. With camera person Aman Gupta, Manjeet Sehgal in Mohali for India Today.
In an aggressive pitch for access to 6 GHz spectrum range, saying that India's 5G deployment will be more expensive and time-consuming without access. Take a look at some of the issues raised by the industrial body. The COAI has said that 5G will be a costly tech to install without required bandwidth. Not having the support of 6 GHz band will greatly affect the speed and quality of 5G services in India. COAI has also argued that India's 5G deployment will be time-consuming without access to the lucrative 6 GHz frequency range. The 6 GHz range will be appropriate for mobile services in heavily populated areas, particularly metropolitan areas. And the current available band of 720 MHz of mid-band spectrum is insufficient to meet the needs. 5G services were introduced on 1st October last year and were made available in more than 200 cities across the nation within a 100-day period. 5G would enable solutions such as e-health, connected vehicles, and also allow downloading full-length, high-quality video or movie to a mobile device in a matter of seconds. The first G20 finance ministers and central bank governors meeting is under India's presidency and is scheduled to be on February 24th and 25th. In total, there will be 72 delegations attending the meeting, and the discussions are expected to focus on climate, finance, urban infrastructure and crypto assets, among others. My colleague Karishma Sadani joining us on this. Karishma, are we expecting discussions leading to decisions in this meeting, especially on crypto assets?
Well, Abha, crypto assets is one definitely key important matters of discussion that will be taken up. In fact, in our interview with the Department of Economic Affairs Secretary, Mr. Ajay Seth, he had also told us that G20 is going to set the foundation and basis for the countries to discuss on a universal regulation and how they would like to treat cryptocurrency. But what this finance track meeting, in fact, is also going to discuss, it is expected to cover issues such as strengthening multilateral development banks in order to address global challenges, financing for resilient, inclusive and sustainable cities of tomorrow, climate financing being on the top of the agenda of the G20 finance track. This meeting, which is on 24th and 25th, will be jointly chaired by Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman and Governor of Reserve Bank of India, Dr. Shaktikanta Das, and this will also set the agenda for the finance track of G20 until the main day, that is September 9th and 10th, where the heads of the states and the key officials and ministers from the G20 countries will participate. So a long way ahead, but unlikely a decision on crypto assets is expected. But the discussions are important and they will definitely set foundation for what's to come later this year.
Let's take a very quick break. When we come back, the Delhi government is mulling allowing only electric two-wheelers to ply as bike taxis. Will this move boost the demand for electric two-wheelers? We get you all the details when we come back.
Destruction, death, but also hope and survivors. Rescue teams have saved numerous lives, in some cases absolute miracle stories of people being pulled out days after being buried under the rubble. And now here's a heartbreaking video from Hatay in Turkey that's being shared worldwide. Volunteers have now attached red balloons over the rubble as a gesture of paying tribute to all those who've died. The red balloons, seen attached to various metal wires and debris, is in memory of some of the child victims in the quake. One of the volunteers named this initiative as My Last Present to Children.
Çocuklara son hediyem olmasını istedim.
Every time we tie a balloon, my heart hurts. We have tied 1,000 to